So welcome back. So like we're going to start a very actual lesson after like you guys have your presentation now. Okay. So is there anyone who would like to do presentation? Like Mama Tata and then Katie Ao, Chusan, you guys have to do it. So like any other person who are doing the presentation. Okay. You can text in the chat group now. All right. So I'm going to start screen sharing.
Yeah.
Right. So Chosan, what did you catch? Chosan ရေဘာမမီတာလဲ
အဲ့တော့ပြောလိုက်တဲ့ဟာလေးဘာပြောလိုက်ရလဲမသိ
အော်ဟိုက Messenger group ထဲမှာရှိပြီလား Oh and then the next one is presentation တွေလုပ်ပြီးဆိုတော့ဘယ်သူ presentation လုပ်အောင်ပါလဲဘယ်သူလုပ်ဖို့ရှိသေးလဲ Anyone doing presentation here like we have 9 people Oh another one another person coming အဲ့ဒါပြောတယ်ပြီးတော့အခုမှစာဆက်တယ်မှာ Chosan Okay so don't worry Right. So I would like to show you guys video, but before that, I just want to like have a bit of explanation on this one. So do you know what is sustainable clothing? Like I would like you guys, discuss with me on the topic sustainable clothing or sustainable clothing brands. Okay, so it's like, can one of you discuss with me like what is sustainable clothing? I mean, you guys can search on Google for, I will give you 3 minutes. Okay, and then you guys should explain me what is sustainable clothing. Okay, is it okay, everyone? Yolanda ကို sustainable clothing ဆိုတာပါလဲဆိုတာကို Google ကနေရှာပြပါပြီး Yolanda မေးမယ် Alright It will be a topic that you guys are going to do presentation for next week. Are you guys okay?
Yes, okay.
Okay, sustainable clothing. And just want to ask you, what is sustainable? Clothing ကတော့တို့တွေသိတယ် You guys have any idea what is the word sustainable? Get the up. Do you have any ideas as what is sustainable?
Sustainable clothing.
Clothing မဟုတ်
Not
ပဲ
sure.
မပေါင်းပဲနဲ့လေ sustainable ဆိုတဲ့ဟာပဲဘာလို့ထင်တော့
Sustainable thing. အဲ့လိုဘယ်လိုပြောမလဲ
ကျန်တဲ့သူဘယ်သူ
အကြာကြီးနေဘယ်လိုလဲ
ကြာကြီးဖြစ်ပြောပါအောင်
Sustainable ဆိုရင်ဘယ်လဲတည်ငြိမ်မြဲအဲ့လိုမျိုးလားမသိဘူးတကယ်ဘယ်လိုပြောမလဲ
Any other person? Reco, Tandau, Sarah, Reco, what do you think the word sustainable is?
I don't know.
Okay, then please restart it. I'm going to give you guys all 3 minutes now, and I'm going to ask you, Reco, okay?
Yeah.
All right, you have to explain me because Yolanda did not know, did not have any idea what is it, okay? Okay, so Reco, you search what is sustainable. Only sustainable, so it's like a long and then after that, sustainable clothing, okay? And then me on the more. Okay, and chat don't type it in the chat, okay? After you have researched it, like open your mic and then discuss with me, okay? Open your mic and then discuss with me, all right? After your research. Tell me when you guys are ready now. Sustainable means like ရေရှည်တည်တံ့တာ or yeah. The thing that can be sustained or maintained. So like, yeah. Okay, I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. Hey, you guys have any idea what is the meaning of let the cat out of the bag? Letting the cat out of the bag? Any idea? Okay, you guys doing the research. Okay, Yolanda is not going to disturb you. Okay, who is ready? Yeah, Sarah and Soul.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
We know we it just can we say
Yeah, of course.
yes, it just my opinion. Yes, sustainable is maintain or support a process.
Okay.
Sustainable clothing is to design clothes.
All right.
Yes, that's all.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. So anyone who would like to add? Son and Sarah. Recall, I want your opinion. Please discuss.
Can hear.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you think the word is sustainable? And then when the word sustainable is combined with sustainable clothing, like what is it? What is like, yeah. Recall, you there?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyone who would like to help Recall?
Yes, I think sustainable clothing is that can maintain a long time. Like and also I think clothing brand is sustainable clothing brand is imitates a long time, like maybe 30 years or 30 years later. Like it's for brand I know just for maybe like for maybe some brand I think. Yes.
Okay, sure. So anyone who would like to add on our discussion?
Yes.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think in my opinion, sustainable clothing mean like a, you know, like a kind of recycled, to maintain the environment. So, for example, we did produce and use clothes, and then we try to we try to create clothes from within, like maintain the environment. Like it's a kind of sustainable clothing.
Wow, okay. Good job. All right. Thank you. So anyone who would like to add so far? Okay, if not, let's move on. All right, so this is going to be your presentation topic, but then I just want to like ask you guys to research it so that you guys have some familiarity with that, with the topic. So before going, I'm going to show you guys video. Here it is. Oh, the connection. So Zai, you guys can still hear me, right?
Grammarly helps you work more efficiently,
As we can
which
hear.
makes accomplishing your work goals easier than ever before.
This video is going to show
Get
you
full sentence rewrite suggestions so you can say
Hi everybody, hope you're all doing well. In this
there are some, phrases you have already learned, but then it's kind of like a bit of recap. And then there will be like new phrases that will help your presentation be more fluent and more like more conversational, because like we're having an academic presentation, right? Academic speaking. So it's like, yeah, okay, this will help you.
short lesson, I'm going to show you lots of great phrases and expressions for making presentations in English. Welcome back to English for Professors. To join my email list. Every 2 weeks I send out my presentation. We usually welcome the audience, introduce ourselves and our topic. Good morning or good afternoon or good evening everybody, and welcome to my presentation. My name is Derek Callan and I'm a business English coach at derekcallan.com. If you're a student, mention your field of study.
So yeah, it depends, right? But then in this case, it's not going to be necessary. Like, the presentation during the class will not be necessary to like really tell your job title and your position. But then in some cases, when you're having like a public speaking thing, it's necessary. So like it depends on the situation. Yeah.
And your university. The topic of my presentation is, or today I'd like to talk to you about. Now this is a very standard way of introducing yourself and your topic, and it's perfectly okay. However, often your audience will already know who you are and what your topic is.
So like the audience, the one who are listening to your presentation will already know your name. So yeah, in that case, it's not necessary. And then you don't really have to introduce, but then it depends.
If you want to make your intro a little different or more interesting, check out my other. You should find the link somewhere. Introduction before beginning with your first main point.
And then Kunara, Yolanda, overview. I cover a bit of overview just before like you guys have a presentation, right? So like, yeah, that overview, he's going to explain it.
It can be a good idea to let your audience know what the structure of your presentation.
Okay, so like presentation structure. Okay, presentation Barbie and Balame, agenda, content. So we
Is. I'm going to focus on, or look at, or deal with 3 main points. Or I've divided my presentation into 3 main parts. First of all, I'll talk about. Second, we'll look at. And finally, I'll explain, or I'll show you, or I'll tell you about.
So it's like, you guys can hear me, right? Hear me very well, right? And see the video, right? It's not lagging, right? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes,
I can
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Yolanda, Okay, thank you very much. So like Kuna Yolanda overview Pioro. So in Kuna Yolanda topic electric car, right? The topic for last week and today the topic for today's presentation. So electric car, right? So overview there is our first one. We are covering background history of electric car. Second, we go advantages, disadvantages. And the third one, statistics. So like it's like the figures. And then the fourth one, the conclusion. So it's like these sessions, so like we just give an overview. Okay, Kana season, yeah, if we like have take a literal meaning, so yeah, okay, the structure actually.
If your audience doesn't know how long the presentation is going to be,
I don't think it's necessary to talk about the timing. I mean, it depends, right? Literally, it's not needed in most thing, okay? And then for the question part, it depends on what type of presentation you're delivering, okay? You are delivering the presentation but presentation ပုံစံနဲ့ မူတည်တယ် normally class တွေထဲမှာ professor တွေ Ajarn ဆရာလုပ်ခိုင်းရင်တော့ question session ပေးချင်လဲပေးမယ် Ajarn တွေမေးရင်လဲမေးလိမ့်မယ် with topic ပေါ်မှာ so yeah, you can like tell like at the end of the session, is there any question you would like to ask? Okay, any questions so far? Okay, at the end of the presentation, all right? Okay, so yeah, it depends on what presentation you are doing, all right? And yeah, what you are asked to do. Okay.
Or I'd appreciate it if you could leave any questions you may have until the end of my presentation. On the other hand, if you want to be flexible and welcome questions at any time, you could say something like this. If you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to interrupt at any time.
So like when you guys have the question Q&A session, make sure that you guys really know well about the topic, because like those person who are going to ask questions, you know, you guys really have to know the depth of your topic you're presenting so that you guys can really answer very perfectly. Yeah.
Great, so you've made your introduction and now it's time to start with the main part or the body of your presentation. And this is where signposting phrases can be very useful. These are phrases we use to guide our audience through our presentation, to let them know when...
So it's like those words like moving on, to begin with, blah, 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 blah. Those words that we use, some of these words we call like linking words, reference words, or signposts, signpost words. So it's like, why signposts? Because like it kind of like act like a sign ပြတယ်လို့ပုံစံမျိုး like on where we're going to start, where we're going to move on to the next part, to the next point, or like where we're going to end. It's like kind of like signal the sign, okay? So that's why we call signpost words.
We want to introduce a new topic. When we're finished with a topic,
okay, introduce a new topic, finish a topic,
and when we want to continue with the next one.
Continue launching, okay?
Introducing your first point. I'd like to begin by telling you or showing you and so on.
Yeah, so it's like Mama Tata Chosan and then get the out. It will be better if you guys could linking words တွေထဲမှာဒီလိုမျိုးရှင်းရှင်းလေးပို့ပြီးတော့ပြောနိုင်ရင်ပို့ပြီးတော့ it will be more perfect in your presentation.
It's important here to follow begin by with a gerund, with the ing form. Or let's start with. Or so let's get started. So is a very short and simple word, but it's a very effective way to get your audience's attention. Finishing one topic. So that covers everything I want to say about, or that concludes my first, or that concludes my second topic. And continuing with another. Now let's move on to my next topic, which is...
Okay, so it's like when you are moving to the statistic part, like during the electric car, you can say like, now let's move on to my next topic, which I will be covering about the statistical figures of how much electric cars is used in the UK. Okay, now?
Or let's turn now to, or moving on to.
Okay, so like I know that you guys use many like phrases that I taught, right? Moving on to continue, I can hear it, but yeah, more will be better.
After 4 months, I can communicate in English fluently. And of course, since then I
And if you want to show your audience some information on graphs or charts,
Okay, ခုန Yolanda ပြောတဲ့ graphs တွေ charts တွေ statistics တွေ
the following phrases should be quite helpful. As you can see on this chart, or take a look at this chart, or this graph clearly shows, or this graph highlights the importance of. Sometimes it's important to go into more detail. Let's have a look at a couple of ways we can do this. Let me expand on this point. Or, I'd like to elaborate on this point for a few minutes. It's also very important to remind your audience about the purpose of your minutes.
So, okay. Do you guys know what the word like elaborate means? Elaborate. I sometimes use that word. Hello.
Burmese explain.
Yeah, okay. Thoroughly explain. Okay. You kind of like give more supporting points. ပို့ပြီးတော့ elaborate ဆိုပို့ပြီးတော့ expand လုပ်လိုက်တာပေါ့ Yeah. ပို့ပြီးတော့နည်းနည်းပို့ပြီးတော့ထပ်ပြီးတော့ရှင်းပြတာပေါ့ Okay. Okay.
Elaborate on this point for a few minutes. It's also very important to remind your audience about the purpose of your presentation.
So presentation ဘာဖြစ်လို့လုပ်ရတာလဲ presentation ရဲ့အကြောင်းရင်း Okay, and then you accept.
Why it's important and why it's relevant.
ဘာလို့အရေးကြီးတာလဲ and then why is it relevant?
As I said at the beginning, or this relates to what I was saying earlier, or this ties in with what I said at the start of my talk.
Actually, like these phrases depends on ဘယ် topic ပြောနေတာလဲပုံမှန်လဲမူတည်ရယ် So like situation ပုံမှန်မူတည်ပြီးတော့ you have to use it. So like it doesn't mean you have to cover everything. It depends on what topic you guys are doing your presentation. Okay now?
Or at the start of my presentation. If something ties in with something else, it means the two things are connected. Excellent. Now let's think about the last part of the presentation. Here we usually summarize the main points.
So like, okay. Here, the last point, this ties in with what I said at the start of my talk, or the conclusion မှာအမတို့3ယောက်ထဲကပြောတာကelectric car က future မှာတယောက်ကပြောတာကဒီတရား I'm not sure electric car က future မှာထပ်ပြီးတော့အနာဂတ်မှာသုံးလာဖို့ရှိတယ်ဆိုရဲဟာဒီအဲ့ဒါ conclusion မှာဒီတရားပြောတဲ့ဟာကိုstatistics ထဲမှာကလည်း2022မှာတော့များလာတယ် For example now I'm not sure your contents but okay so it's like so this ties in like conclusion မှာကိုယ့်ရဲ့ opinion ကိုပြောတဲ့အချိန်မှာ statistics မှာပြောထားတဲ့အတိုင်းပဲ this relate to what I was saying earlier in the statistic session okay so that means like electric car could be more and more popular in the near future နာဂတ်ကြရင်ပို့ပြီးတော့ popular ဖြစ်လာနိုင်တယ် okay and then မမတထားပြောတာကြတော့မမတထားပို့ပြီးတော့ expensive ဖြစ်တယ်လို့ပြောလိုက်တာမလားexpensive ဖြစ်တဲ့အတွက်ကြောင့်မလို့တိတ်ပြီးတော့အဆင်မပြေနိုင်ဘူးလို့ပြောရတဲ့ထင်ဟုတ်လားမမတထား is that
ဟုတ်တယ်ရှင်
so ရေမမတထားလည်း expensive ဖြစ်တယ်လို့ထင်တယ်ဆိုတဲ့အချိန်မှာဘယ်လိုပြောလို့ရလဲဆိုတော့အဲ့ဒီ statistic ထဲကိုကြည့်လိုက်တယ်ဒါပေမဲ့အဲ့လောက်ကြီးထိ increase လို့ဖြစ်တာတက်သွားတာပေါ့နော်နှစ်လိုက်တက်သွားတာဒီမှာ2021ကနေ2022ထိတက်သွားတာဒီအဲ့လောက်ကြီးထိတိတိတတာ significant increase we cannot see any significant increase that's why we can still conclude that it is still expensive for people to buy electric car ဆိုတော့ဒီအနောက်ကို conclusion ပြောနေတာ but then you related to the earlier section right which is the statistic the chart section all right okay I guess you guys know what I mean နားမလည်တာရှိလား Can you guys follow me?
Yes. Okay. I will
Are
follow you.
connected. Excellent. Now let's think about the last part of the presentation. Here we usually summarize the main points, give a conclusion or a final message, thank the audience and invite them to ask questions. Summarizing. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. We looked at 3 main points. First, I showed you.
Okay, so during your presentation, don't just say this is the end of my presentation. You can use like other things. Like that brings me to the end of my presentation. Or this concludes my presentation. Okay, so like vocabulary များများနဲ့ပို့ပြီးတော့ advanced ဖြစ်အောင်သုံး Okay, Yolanda လောပါကြည့်တာ All right. Okay.
Okay.
So like this one already in the video. Okay, so like this is my example, all right, on the overview. So in that overview you can write like for me I will write like agenda or table of content. So babi palam nebo. I mean you can use anything you like. Okay, and then this one referring to graphs and charts. So yeah, this is already covered in the video, and this one as well. Okay, so yeah, coming to our topic, sustainable clothing or sustainable clothing brands. And yes, this is what you're going to do it, your assignment. Okay, so like the same as last week, you're going to cover background, content, and then conclusion. Okay, so on the topic sustainable clothing brands. Okay, so background ma 3 points. Okay, what is sustainable clothing? How is sustainable clothing production brands working? Sustainable clothing bale to a history and then sustainable clothing production brands. Okay, so altogether 3 points. And background section. Okay, any background Yolanda overview later. Okay, and then content supporting points support lopira. Firstly, pros and cons. So advantages and disadvantages. As well, advantages don't chat 3 points, cons, disadvantages 3 points. All right, and the statistics. Okay, statistics it depends. Okay, what you guys want to do. What I mean by statistic is like the graphs, the charts, anything will be okay. All right, if you cannot find you guys can just like find something which you can relate to and like have some conclusion. Okay, and then the last one is like case study, one specific example. Yolanda built an case studies like consumer consumer means like customer sustainable clothing brands go look at example or clothing brand example all right. Okay, and then this one conclusion, your opinion, all right, and then customer as a customer yourself, your thought. Okay, and then like its impact. Okay, how do you think what impact sustainable clothing products will have to the world? All right, so any question on this, I can send it to the group, and then any question with the assignment. Yolandaပို့လိုက်မယ် wait, it's this one. Open. So do you guys have any question? Easy မေးခွန်းရှိလားအဲ့ဒါနဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးတော့
မရှိတော့ပါဘူး
teacher.
All right, and what about others?
ဟိုက
ဒီတပတ်မပြောသေးတဲ့လူတွေပြောရင်
Okay ဒီတစ်ပတ်မပြောသေးတဲ့လူတွေပြောရင်ก็
ဒါမှမဟုတ်တခြားလူတွေပြေးအောင်
Okay, so I will pause the recording